Chipped ham and football. That's what Pittsburgh does. It's Thursday. I'm Brian Batko from the Post-Gazette Steelers beat writer. Whew, off to a great start, much like the Steelers at home. But we're on to week 3 against the Patriots after what really was a listless loss to the Seahawks at Acrisure Stadium. Defense got its doors blown off by Sam Darnold and company. And speaking of doors, there's no better place to get new windows and doors installed in your home than from Pella, who can help you save on energy costs year round. Schedule a free in-home consultation with your local Pella Windows and Doors to find the right product for your home and your budget. Give them a call at 866-593-1560 to discuss your project further. That's 866-593-1560 to get started planning on your new windows and doors installation with Pella Windows and Doors of Pittsburgh. And to me, it's always fun to have former players on this show. I think you all enjoy these episodes as well because the perspective is about as different as it can possibly be from mine. So I'm going to bring in a guy who started 5 games for last season's Steelers, played in 13 as mostly a blocking tight end. MyCole Pruitt, he's not with the team so far this season. He's one of us watching from home, but he's dabbling in the podcast world himself now. So it'll be cool to chat with him about all sorts of stuff here on the other side. All right, here he is, MyCole Pruitt, 10-year NFL vet, spent all last season with the Steelers. And, even though it didn't end the way you or the team or the fans wanted it to, Pittsburgh will always have a special place in the Pruitt household because of what happened off the field for you, right? Specifically down at Phipps Conservatory.
Yeah, man. Definitely going to have a special place in our hearts. Me and my wife got married there, and it was a special ceremony. Pastor Kent did it for us over at Phipps Observatorium, and then we popped over to the Christmas party afterwards and celebrated with some teammates and coaches. So, man, Pittsburgh definitely gonna have a special place in our hearts, and we gonna be back there soon. We gonna come back and visit for sure.
Well, I was going to say, how's life on the couch this year so far? This NFL season, has it been weird?
It's been a little weird, man. I'm over here twiddling my thumbs trying to keep myself busy, but
When you get really bored, you hop on with us at the Post-Gazette, so we appreciate that.
Hey, man, I got a little time. I could talk a little ball, man. I'm actually enjoying the game a little bit more. I'm finding my love, man, for the game a little bit more. Just being removed from it and not being in that daily grind and having to worry about circumstances of everything that's going on. It's allowed me to sit back and really get the game from a different perspective and finding that love again, man. So it's fun. It ain't too bad.
And that's why we have you here. I know it's been a crazy first couple weeks in the NFL, and I assume you probably have several teams that you keep closer tabs on than others. But how much have you gotten to see so far of these 2025 Steelers who've made so many changes just from last year when you were there at the skill positions, from Russell Wilson to Justin Fields to Najee Harris to George Pickens, Van Jefferson, you and Cordero? Have you got to see them much so far?
Yeah, man. I keep tabs on the Steelers, man. A lot of people that I know there, obviously. Even some new people on the team I know. So I've gotten to watch the last couple of games, and I'm Art's my guy, Jonnu's my guy, Pat's my guy, that whole tight end room. So I want him to do good. I root for him.
Were you surprised at all by how much they did swap out? I mean, you mentioned one of them in Jonnu Smith coming in. Were you surprised at all by how much they swapped out as far as the offensive personnel from last year to this year, or did you think it was kind of an inevitable part of this business given the way last season ended?
I'm not surprised by anything that happens in this league, man. I've been through it, like you said, 10 years. I've seen it all. And that's just part of the league, man. Swapping them out, trying to see what pieces work where, and they did a lot of that for sure.
Okay, I don't want to dwell on last year too much, but from your vantage point, what does this year's Steelers need to do better to make sure they can elevate and not just make the playoffs like you guys did, but maybe win a postseason game for the first time since 2016 and end that drought that they're dealing with here?
Yeah, man. I think they made some good changes, but the one thing about Arthur Smith's offense that he always has hung his hat on is running the ball. That's kind of why I had a job for so long. Just being able to get that zone scheme down, and it really opens up everything else for the offense, man. And that's one thing that they kind of been missing. I think last year we were somewhat effective at it, but we could have been better. I think some of the running backs that were there and still there, they were kind of used to getting the ball and going straight downhill, and some of that zone offenses requires a little bit more patience and kind of following your blocks and setting them up a little bit. So if they can really get that down, I know Jaylen Warren's a great runner there. It's just about being comfortable in that system.
This is a great week to have you on this show because the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, and like you said, Arthur Smith are headed up to Foxborough to face Mike Vrabel in the Patriots. And I think I just named the three head coaches you've played for the majority of your career. And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure this is Arthur's first time facing Vrabel in this capacity. I think he was like kind of on the Brown staff last year, but it's different now that he's a head coach again. Do you think are those two like they can kind of read each other's minds and it's going to be a chess match, pitting those two against each other up in New England?
Yeah, man, they definitely have a lot in common, and Braves knows Art's offense inside and out. This is actually the second time they face each other. We
Okay,
went up there to Tennessee when we were in Atlanta
gotcha.
and played Braves. We lost on the last drive of the game. But y- we had some things in that week for me and Jonnu, and Braves kind of read it like a book. So it'll be interesting to see exactly the chess match that goes on that field. You know, Braves is orchestrating everything on that defense, and Art's doing the same on the other side of the ball. So it'll be fun, man. Art took a lot of things from Braves on his way out to Atlanta. More so in the head coaching capacity than the offensive coordinator. But hey, man, it's gonna be a battle, man. I'm excited to watch it.
Well, at the same time, I mean, Arthur should have a pretty good feel of, what Vrabel is going to be thrown out there, I guess. So I guess that's kind of the thing that always works both ways when you have that familiarity. And I mean, you could speak to this too. I mean, I feel like a Mike Tomlin mentality team is probably not very far removed from a Mike Vrabel mentality team when it comes to the kind of identity they want to establish, right?
Definitely, man. Just tough nosed, physical as can be, playing all the way through the whistle. And packing your big boy pants. It's gonna be battle, man. It's gonna be a battle.
Steelers are actually 1.5 point favorites for this game on FanDuel, by the way, and the over/unders 44.5. In case anybody out there is thinking it will be a slugfest between those two old buddies. Do you have a feel for how this one's going to play out? Because I mean, you mentioned the Steelers being 1-1 through 2 weeks. Do you feel like they're more of the team against the Jets that was able to pull it out with Aaron Rodgers, making really every throw that he needed to in
Mm.
that one, or do you see them as more of the team that lost to the Seahawks where they couldn't stop the run again, and the pass protection made life tough on Aaron to even get out and make some of those throws.
Yeah, man. That defense is gonna have to figure that run game out. Braves is watching film meticulously and going to exploit whatever issues that didn't get fixed. So that's a huge thing that's gonna have to get figured out. And obviously on the other side of the ball, like I said, the Steelers are gonna have to figure out how to run the ball and figure out how to block some of those D linemen they got over there, just to get Jaylen going through the line. Because once he breaks through the line, like the cuts he makes, the way he runs the ball, he's so hard to bring down.
The first guy never seems to get him.
The first guy never gets him, man, and it's beautiful to watch, but he has to get through that line of scrimmage. So everybody got to get on the same page when it comes to the schemes of the blocking. It that's what it's all about. It's coordination. It's coordination.
Yeah, that's the whole name of the game right there for Arthur Smith. All right, I want to get into a potpourri of topics here, a prupery, if you will.
All
Are
right.
you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. You played a lot of special teams in your time, and including last year here. And again, while I don't want to dwell on last year, I don't want to dwell necessarily on last week either with that moment for the rookie Kaleb Johnson. But when you see a play like that, where it seemed like he basically just blanked, spaced on the kickoff roll, thought
Mm.
it was a dead ball like college or whatever, and hands the Seahawks a touchdown at a pivotal point in the game. What's your take on that? Because Danny Smith's getting a lot of heat at the moment. The Steelers in general are getting a lot of heat for how that happens.
Man, I could just imagine those meets with Danny Smith, man. he's chewing his gum. His jaw is probably rocked up right now, and he's trying to figure out how did he let this one slip
He
through.
might have to see a dentist after that game, honestly. So, I remember he told us one time his tooth fell out in a piece of gum. I was like, I don't know if that's true, but it's a heck of a story.
He got it. I don't know. That gum is crazy, but I would never have expected something like that to happen with Danny Smith manning that special teams unit the way he does, just the way that he goes over every detail meticulously with the team, and basically he lays it out how it's going to happen. He studies so much film and passes so much knowledge to us as players, or he did last year. I'm sure he's doing the same this year. That it's hard for me to believe that something like that slipped through the cracks. And I'm sure Kaleb Johnson is in a place that's kind of messed up mentally right now. But
Like the old commercial, "Want to get away?" It'd be like I think it was Southwest. He could be on that from that play.
exactly. But if I know Danny, I know that he's gonna have that kid in there early, staying late, and figuring out everything that he needs to figure out. So I think he'll be all right moving forward.
All right, Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith. So far through 2 games, it seems like they're pretty much on the same page. One of your former Titans teammates, Delaney Walker, came out and kind of randomly said this offseason somewhere he predicted those two will not mesh well and it
Mm.
won't end well. What are your thoughts on that? Because I've always thought that, I'd never covered Aaron until this year, but just being around Arthur last year, I feel like they have the same kind of dry sense of humor where they keep things light until it's time to really turn up the heat on somebody.
Yeah, man. I've actually said this on my own podcast a couple episodes ago that I thought that their personalities are a lot alike. They both are deep thinkers, bit of conspiracy theorists. They seem to be about their work. I don't know Aaron personally, but from what I see on TV, his interviews and his appearances, his
Yeah.
Netflix special,
Did you watch
uh,
that?
they seem like they do have that same type of personality, and those type of things go a long way when it comes to coordinating an offense and working together. So I thought it was going to work from the beginning when I heard about the signing.
So Delaney is just hot taking a little bit, now that he's in the media with people like myself, I guess. But
Hey, sometimes you got to do that, man. Throw it out there.
in Rodgers heard it, certainly his on-field interview as soon as Steelers Jets was complete. He was like talking about some of the garbage narratives out there. Both of those two guys also, from what I've found early already, very in tune with the narratives that are out there about them. So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
going to
man.
be
Yeah. Art pulls up those news clippings all the time, and yeah, this is what they're saying about us, but we're gonna write our own story type thing. So I'm sure they're doing the same thing this week. Everybody was high on them the first week, and everybody's down on them this week, man. That's just how the NFL goes. So I'm sure they're saying those same things in that locker room and getting ready for this one this week.
absolutely. Yeah, I always look at it as, be open-minded to things changing and shifting your opinion, but don't be reactionary to every single thing that goes on in trying to cover this sport. All right, the Steelers have one of the best tight end tandems in the league, at least on paper. You mentioned both these guys at the top, Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith,
Mhm.
having played with both of them. What stands out to you about each guy individually, whether that's something they do really well on the field or just something about them off the field?
Yeah. So Jonnu, man, I got a chance to play with him a few years now. I think about 5 years at this point.
What
Jonnu
is
is
he
just
in
a jack
Atlanta?
of all trades, man. He can't be put into any box. You can get him the ball anywhere on the field, and he's going to make a play. Just fast as a receiver, and big as a tight end, and physical as well. So, and definitely a great dude off the field, man. We've gotten a chance to become friends. Our families have hung out and gotten to know each other, and a guy that just is loves the game and rides for whoever he's with, man. So love John New and everything that he brings to the game, man. And when you talk about Pat, man, just reliable. When it comes to we need a big play in this situation. who are we going to go to? Let's find Pat. Let's find where he's at and get him the ball, man. And he's ingratiated himself so much in that Pittsburgh community. Getting a chance to be with Pat last year, and he kind of told me that it was kind of his first time having a veteran leadership, showing him how to really go about this NFL game in me. And that meant a lot to me. That stuck with me, and it's still sticking with me to this day, that I was able to make an impact on a player like Pat and his caliber. So both of those guys, I love them. And then even the rest of the tight end room, Darnell and Connor, man, just coming up through the ranks and really putting their head down and working and getting better every day, man. So I can't say enough about that tight end room. And shout out to Fredo too, my dog, man.
Yeah, Alfredo Roberts, tight ends coach for a long time now for the Steelers. Speaking of tight ends, have you noticed this trend of teams that aren't named the Eagles running the tush push, but doing it with tight ends instead of putting their highly compensated quarterbacks in that situation? The Seahawks did it on a 4th and 1 just last week against the Steelers. The Ravens have been doing it. I think the
Mhm.
Chiefs have been doing it for a while.
Yeah, I have noticed that. Some of these tight ends, they were former quarterbacks. They know how to take some snaps, and they know how to get low and get a yard. So I mean, why would you not? If you don't think your quarterback is gonna be able to do it, or
Or
might
you
get
just don't
hurt,
want
you
to
don't
risk
want to put
it.
him in
Yeah.
harm's way. Why not use a extremely successful play to your advantage? So put a tight end in there, let him get a yard.
Did you guys have that installed last year for anybody?
No, we didn't have that one installed last year though.
Okay, maybe
We
it's
we were
Mike
handing
Tomlin
it
was
to
asked about it Tuesday, and he said he doesn't want to get into any of their strategic elements. But I just think, especially with Rodgers now in there instead of Russ or Justin, I think it makes a ton of sense to do that. Now, granted, if it doesn't work, you look like an idiot, and everyone's going to crush you. And that actually happened to the Jets last year when Rodgers was there. They ran it to Tyler Conklin. He got stood up for no gain. So that's the fine line there. But I think it's a little hidden edge for teams in those short yardage situations.
Hey, if it works, it worked. More opportunities for the tight ends, man. I'm all for
I
it.
figured you'd like that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, last thing, international games. You've played in London twice, I think, right, with two different organizations
Yeah.
in your time.
Mhm.
So, what do you? How do you feel about going to? Because the Steelers go to Dublin in a couple weeks to play the Vikings, and like in your experience, better to get there early, get acclimated to the time difference as a player and all that, or better to go out late, keep your routine the same, sleep in your own bed as much as possible, practice at your own facility as much as possible? What's sort of the thought process that you would have on that?
Yeah, so both times I went, we went out late. I think on the Thursday before the game, and
Yeah.
that ended up with two losses. So maybe we should have tried something different.
Well, I don't know what the
Um,
other team necessarily did in those situations. Do you? They might have
I'm
done the
not
same.
sure. I think one time we played the Jaguars, and they're like,
Oh, they
that's their
basically live
second
in
home.
London,
So
so yeah, yeah.
yeah, so that's how that went. But I just think some of these games, like they're not really the best for the players. I think it's good for the game. They extend the reach of the NFL and allow for a new fan base to see the game and see what we have to offer. But for the players, it's a stress on our bodies. It's another stress on our body. It's a long trip. It's not necessarily being able to sleep, messing up your pattern of sleep at least. And it's hard on your body, man, to have to travel this far and play a physical game. That just because we went to a different country, it didn't get any less physical. So it's tough, but both teams have to deal with it, and that's how you look at it, and you go out there to get a win, whatever you got to do.
And the Steelers have their bye the next week, so they'll at least get some time to recuperate. The Vikings have a second consecutive game out there. They'll go from Dublin to London, so they'll be out there for a really long time. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out for those two teams. I just was curious because I've heard Steelers players say on their own shows before and stuff that, and players from other teams too, like they wish they could be out there a little bit longer to get acclimated. But obviously, there's a ton of logistical hurdles that go with that for the teams if they want to do that. So.
Yeah, man, I could see the benefit to that. Like like with the Viking situation, them being out there for 2 weeks and really being able to get acclimated to it, I feel I can see the benefit to that. At least if some of their families get to go out there too. But I think either way, it's still tough. It's still tough.
For sure. Well, all right, man. I think that's all I've got. Before I let you go, why don't you tell our viewers about Must Be Two Sides, which I think is a really smart concept in which you and your longtime buddy Ahmad Hicks, who now covers the Vikings actually in Minneapolis, you two break down a lot of different subjects through the eyes of a player and of a reporter, right?
Yeah, man. It's called Must Be Two Sides Podcast. You can get it everywhere that you get your podcasts. We've made a home on YouTube and Instagram. And it's me and my buddy Ahmad. We've been best friends since high school, going on 20 years now. And our careers, we both played football. We both went to the same college and played there. But our careers went on two different paths, but still stayed parallel. He ended up being a journalist, sports journalist, and obviously I went on to the NFL. And we just want to bring the sports landscape a new perspective as far as on the two sides that's pit against each other, media and athlete.
And that was really relevant a couple weeks ago with the whole Ryan Clark, Peter Schrager dust up at ESPN, which I thought too was interesting because I'm always like, I'm obviously on one side of that. And to me, I would always think like, yeah, okay, so Peter Schrager hasn't played in the NFL, but what if I were to say, Ryan Clark, you can't critique a quarterback because you never played quarterback in the NFL. So that's a slippery slope in my mind.
100%, man. And we actually touched on that on our last episode. It gets a little dicey there with Ryan Clark sometimes and some of these former athletes in their takes. But me and my boy Ahmad, we're best friends, so we have a different type of relationship, and we bring it all together, and we really want to see how we can bridge that gap and make both sides be able to help each other instead of being against each other. We can work together and end up with something even greater than we have now. So that's our goal, and that's what we've been doing, and it's been fun, man. That's how I've been keeping myself busy, man.
And you challenge each other, which is good to have those conversations. And honestly, that's why I first reached out to you, because I listened to you guys, and me being an NFL beat writer, maybe I'm like the target audience for that, but I found it interesting and thought-provoking, the conversations you guys were having. So, all right. Well, hey, thank you so much, MyCole. Maybe you'll get that call if injuries start to mount around the league, especially with these international games. Hopefully not, but you never know, taking a toll on the body. So
Yeah.
if not, though, good luck dipping your toe into the content game, man. All right.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, and I'm definitely ready. Art, if you need that run game to get going, hey, give me a call.
There were multiple times last year, I remember at a practice, where Mike Tomlin would be walking up to you and say, "Hey, Pruitt, it's a 4-3 defense week. It's a 4-3 week." So
Yeah.
it meant you were
Hey,
going to
I'm
be in
ready.
line.
I've been working my butt off, man. So I'm ready to go whenever that call does come. And in the meantime, I'm stepping into your job a little bit, man. So
Hey,
I'm
we'll
having
take
fun
it.
with it too.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. So, hey, thanks again for the time, and appreciate it. Good luck with everything.
No doubt, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody checking out Chipped Ham and Football. One last word from Goldberg, Persky, and White. If you were diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer, call your local attorneys at Goldberg, Persky, and White. For more than 40 years, their firm has represented thousands of lung cancer and mesothelioma victims. So call 1-800-COMPLEX or visit gpwlaw.com if you are in need of a free consultation. We will talk to you again soon on the Post-Gazette Sports YouTube channel. Plenty of written content coming your way as well on post-gazette.com ahead of Steelers-Patriots Week 3. See you next time.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.